Today on Robert's Full English Breakfast Show, I'm more than thrilled to have a Time Lord in the centre of Greenwich. Who else but the one and only Colin Baker, the 6th Doctor Who. Thank you very much, Colin, for coming on the show. You nearly weren't an actor, were you? Right at the start of time, you studied to be something else. What was that?
Yes, when I was 18, my father said to me, right, what do you want to do? I said, well, I'd like to go to university, Oxford or Cambridge preferably, and join AUDS or the Footlights while studying modern languages, and I'd like to possibly become an actor after that. And there was the briefest of pauses, and he said, you start in the solicitor's office on Monday. And you think, well, why would I go? Yes, all right. But 18-year-olds way back in the distant mist of time, with fathers like my father, did as they were told. So I said, oh, all right. The idea of this boy saying you want to go to university was abhorrent to him. So he wouldn't waste time if I would become a lawyer. So I spent 5 years working in a solicitor's office in Manchester as an articled clerk, took various exams, some of which I passed, some of which I didn't. And at the point when I was due to be sitting my finals, just before, my father had a heart attack and stroke from which he never really recovered. And I thought, in the words of the song, is that all there is? And decided, no, I'm going to do what I want to do. So at the age of 23, I auditioned for drama schools.
You came into prominence first in the 70s in the TV series The Brothers, where you played the character Paul Merrily.
Paul Merrily. Yes, that was the first kind of popular success. I'd done a string of things like War and Peace and Cousin Bet and Roads to Freedom, classic serials. I was very lucky. I mean, within a year of leaving drama school, I got really nice parts on telly. And it led to, I mean, I've always said that the most important thing in working as an actor is luck. And the two big parts I've had have both arrived through luck. I was asked to play a small part in The Brothers because they were doing a very complicated business scene, and the then producer had been the production manager on War and Peace, and he knew of my legal training. So he asked me if I'd come in and play these two small scenes, which I did. Another actor dropped out, they wrote my part up because it was working, and I became, well, in some people's minds, the key character in the series.
The baddie.
The man everybody loved to hate.
Which is always more fun to play
Yes.
than the sort of goodies. Well, then in 1984, I think I'm right in saying, you landed the part that you are world famous for, Doctor Who, number 6. What was it like to hear that news? Because I believe you're the only Doctor who had been in Who before getting the major role.
In fact, the rule was, if you'd been in the series, there was no way you're going to be the Doctor. And when I was asked by my agent if I wanted to play the part of Maxil, who was the character in Arc of Infinity, which is a Peter Davison's episode, I said, oh, that means I'll never play Doctor Who. He said, what do you mean? And I told him that, you know, that was the rule. He said, well, then no one's going to want you to play Doctor anyway, so do it. It was because I played that small part that John Nathan Turner thought of me when he was recasting when Peter left. So,
as you said, coming back to luck again. And was there a time that the TARDIS was going to be axed?
Oh, that, all the way through, there were rumours. I think John Nathan Turner was a genius in publicity. First of all, there's the Doctor's going to be female rumour. Then there was, we're axing the TARDIS. Then there was no more Daleks. Year on year, they've come up with something which has made the public go, no! We must keep the TARDIS. Oh, all right then, we'll keep it. I mean, I'm not privy to the discussions that led to that, but in retrospect, that was clearly the case.
Tell me about the sonic screwdriver.
It was banned during my time. I was allowed a sonic lance once, but the reason that John Nathan Turner banned it was because writers could get you into the most appalling situations, and then, oh, hey, presto, I pull something out of my pocket that will destroy that wall and 16,000 people on the other side of it. So they had to be a little more ingenious in their scripts. But it's a pretty useful tool, and mine was far better than the modern one.
And why do you think it is so important to scare children?
Children should be scared daily, in my opinion. I mean, if you think back to the Brothers Grimm and all those fairy tales, they are horrendous about, children being baked in ovens and eaten, and little pigs being burnt in their houses, and all those kind of things, because it teaches children very important lessons at a point when their imaginations run riot if you give them the opportunity, and they can formulate their kind of adult behaviour through having these fantasies when they're younger. I genuinely believe that is important. And I think Roald Dahl got it dead right, because Roald Dahl stuff makes parents worry that it's a bit too scary, and that's when it's about right. At exactly the time that Mary Whitehouse was complaining about the violence in Doctor Who, I think it was at the right level.
I saw a rerun of a Doctor Who, which I think I'm right in saying was called The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances, where there was a child in a gas mask or something, and that was so chilling. What do you think of that?
I know exactly what you meant, and when I'm asked at conventions what my favourite Doctor Who story ever was, those are the two that I quote.
Oh, well, I'm rather glad I've hit on the right...
Because that is exactly what Doctor Who should be. Every child in Britain the next day was going round in their playground going, "Are you my mummy?" Which is what the child in the gas mask said. Brilliant. And the other one was the one with the angels, the statues that suddenly come closer to you when you blink. That is what Doctor Who should be.
Yes.
They've got it right now.
Do you still have the coat?
I do still have my Doctor Who coat.
The coat of many colours.
The coat of many colours. The good thing about it was I was on the inside looking out, really. It has to be borne in mind it's a product of the 80s. Right. Glam rock was going on at that time. And if you look at every Doctor Who costume, they bear a relevance to the period in which they were created. However, that might have been in the back of the designer's mind. The brief was, for my costume, something totally tasteless. And they kind of got it, didn't they?
In recent years, you've sort of returned very much to the stage. I always think that sort of real actors always say that their first love is the stage. Is that so in your case?
No, my first love is the camera. Without doubt, my first love is the camera. If I had to choose between one form of acting, the reason being, you're always doing something new, and that thing there that's looking at me now can tell if I'm telling porkies. So if you're doing generalised-ish acting, a bit cross, and not feeling it, the camera can tell it. Whereas on a stage, you can get away with blue murder. Now that is great. You do the same thing night after night after night, which as an actor, you get used to. You do get used to it. But Patrick Troughton, I once said to him, I haven't seen your name outside of the theatre. When did you last do any theatre? He said, "Oh, years ago." "All that shouting in the evening," he said. No, it's not for me. I wouldn't go that far. It is for me, and I do enjoy doing it because it's my job, and I love the feel of a live audience. But I don't miss an audience when I'm working to a camera, because the crew is your audience. Around you there are people, and I like the left brain, right brain thing. That you shift your weight slightly, so the person you're in shot properly and all that. Which
it's a very fine line, isn't it?
And I enjoy that. It may be that I haven't done as much of it over the last 10 years as I did 10 years before, so I'm kind of missing it. But I would dearly love to do a nice series on television right now.
I know you also are very keen on the theatre. Do you have a favourite show that you've ever done?
I have two favourite plays I've done, I suppose. One is Corpse, which I did in the West End, and the other is Privates on Parade. And what singles them out is in both those plays, I had to dress up as a woman. Privates on Parade would win for me because I got to play Marlene Dietrich, Vera Lynn, Noel Coward, and one other female, I can't remember who it was now. But I had such fun, and it's such a good play as well. It's a very moving piece, but the idea of me, look at me now, playing Marlene Dietrich, and the legs weren't bad actually.
Now is Friedrich Engel Square, strictly for the working classes. Dankeschön for nothing, comrades, Dankeschön.
Last year you accepted the presidency of the Doctor Who Appreciation Society, which I think you're only the third president, is that right?
I am,
Who
yes.
were the first two?
The first president was John Pertwee, who was much missed, a man with great charisma. Walked into a room and everybody paid attention, whether they knew he was an actor or not. 6'4" or 5, imperious, wonderful shock of grey hair. He was remarkable. And he was the first president. And then when he died, the Brigadier, there's only one of him, there's lots of doctors, tennerpenny doctors, companions, thousands of the blighters, but only one Brigadier, the wonderful Nicholas Courtney, who sadly we lost last
recently,
year.
yes.
So now they asked me.
Your last appearance in Greenwich as the Doctor was...
My last appearance ever as the Doctor, if you count Children in Need special, Doctor Who, was running with the Brigadier, funnily enough, towards a helicopter, which a shot I had to do about 10 times, running up those damn steps in Greenwich. So I have my body aches still from the recollection. But yes, so here I am in Greenwich. Maybe this will, the times will fuse
again.
and a new era. Nah, that won't happen.
Well, you never know. I mean, did you ever think that they might... I think, is it next year? It's the 50th anniversary?
Next year is the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who.
Do you think
I
they
keep
could sort
being
of...
asked, have you been asked to be in it yet? And the answer is no, I haven't. I think it's extremely unlikely, because all you have to do... Well, here in front of me is a picture, right? Right. So, do you think it's a good idea for this to be seen pretending to have any connection to that?
Well, I can't see any difference.
Well, you're a sweetheart now. Now put your glasses on.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
Dear. Well, it's only a little. I mean...
So I think they would have an inherent problem. And the other thing is, they don't need it. The programme is so successful now. It has been re-imaged brilliantly. And I do think, the scripts are good, the casting is good. A lot of the old die-hard fans don't like the labyrinthine plots. I love them.
What is so marvellous about you that some people decide to leave behind and forget something of success. You've been very loyal to the fans. And is there any message that you'd like to give to your hundreds of thousands of fans around the world?
Bless them. You've got me 10,000 odd followers on Twitter. You fans, you've done brilliantly. But you see, I've never understood actors who say, please don't talk to me about that role that I did 25 years ago, which was my only successful role, because I am doing this wonderful play now about Serbo-Croat miners with one legs in Chechnya, which nobody wants to go and see. I mean, imagine you're a plumber and someone comes up to you 20 years later and says, that U-bend you put in for me in 1975. Oh, it's drip-free, I love it, thank you so much. You wouldn't go, I don't want to talk about that, I want to talk about my taps I did yesterday. Come get a grip. If people are that happy about your work, then be proud and celebrate it. And the fans are lovely.
Well, I'd like to thank, on behalf of all the fans, the pleasure you have given to so many people over the years. And on Robert's Full English Breakfast Show, we always like to give our guests something to remember the event by. And
A full English breakfast, by any chance?
well, we thought we'd go a little bit further than that.
Oh.
And I'm afraid, like sort of politicians, I've got to now declare an interest. And I went to drama school with a certain actress called Marion White. And I know she now devotes much of her time to animals and the care of furry things, and you and your lovely children.
I'm a furry thing.
I dug through the files and I found something that I'd like to think that she can always leave a message on for you. So, Colin Baker, thank you very much indeed for coming on Robert's Full English Breakfast Show.
Oh my goodness. That is my lovely Marion, looking a little less than her usual jolly self.
Well, she's a very
What
good...
was it in?
Do you know, I was in it and I can't remember what it was. she was being funny there. Will you send her my best wishes?
I most certainly will, yes.
And Colin Baker, thank you very much indeed for coming on Robert's Full English Breakfast Show.